I'd like to welcome everybody to West Bay Community Action. Today we're delighted to have Senator Reid and his entire staff that were able to answer some of the tough questions we have going forward with the new administration's cuts and the projected cuts going forward. Us as a community action network in Rhode Island, we serve just about 190 to 200,000 Rhode Islanders every single year with a plethora of services. I want to thank my fellow executive directors for being present here today and for assisting with the great closed-door session with Senator Reid. And I'd like to welcome Senator Reid, a great senator of Rhode Island, to the podium.
Thanks, Paul. Well, first let me thank Paul and all of you for the great work you do. You're in every community helping people who need help to get on with their lives, to be productive citizens, and that's, I think, what a lot of people have defended and given their lives for in the uniform of the United States. So you're doing the work that is so important to this country. CAP agencies are about improving people's lives. They really are. And creating opportunities, breaking the cycle of poverty. You've been doing this for 60 years, so thank you very much. Now, CAP agencies deliver critical federal program in a way that is tailored to the community. That's what makes you so special. What we do, what we have to do is a little bit different than what they're doing in Montana or places like that. That's why it makes so much sense. That's why it's so efficient, because we are in the community, you are in the community. It's a partnership that's worked for Rhode Island and for America for a long, long time. Now, the Trump administration and the Republicans in Congress, they want to shred the social safety net, upend this federal-local cooperation and community partnership that has lifted up so many Americans. On Friday, the Republicans once again tried to advance their agenda that would gut Medicaid and social services to give a tax cut, a huge tax cut to President Trump's billionaires' friends. I don't know, I think people probably noticed while the stock market was collapsing, while the Republicans were voting on a reconciliation measure that would gut Medicaid, the president was playing golf in Florida with his billionaire friends. I think that's a pretty good summary of where we are, unfortunately. Trump, Elon Musk, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they've taken a sledgehammer to the Department of Health and Human Services, cutting 20,000 professionals that help CAP agencies each day. And they've done it in such a careless way. In fact, just days after they made the announcement of these 20,000 cuts, Secretary Kennedy suggested that, they goofed a little bit, because 1 out of every 5 people they fired were probably mistakenly fired. That's how careful and calculated they are. Now, making mistakes like that is critical, but not unique. They probably made a mistake with their lie heap, cutting critical people that help you deliver funds to people who need heat in the winter and cooling in the summer. They're making mistakes about our community's health and safety, and it'll cost lives, literally. This is not an academic exercise. This is about people surviving. It's another example of the Trump administration plowing ahead with misguided cuts with no analysis whatsoever. You know, when you cut 20,000 people and 2 days later say, whoops, we need about 8,000 back, 10,000 back. They cut people from the National Nuclear Security Administration. 3 days later, they discovered they needed many of them back because the safety of our nuclear weapons was in jeopardy. If they're so careless and shooting from the hip when it comes to protecting our nuclear arsenal, that is just beyond belief, but it's happening. These are examples of the course he's imposing on the American people. And you know better than anyone those courses. You see it in healthcare that you can't extend to a person who needs it. You see it with Head Start programs that are giving young people a chance to really use their talents in school. We know if you look at Head Start populations, children with Head Start do much better in elementary school. And if they don't have Head Start, they don't. And they don't succeed ultimately either in many cases, too many cases. Now, we want to be efficient. In fact, I think the way they've set this up, we are efficient, because what would make sense in Texas doesn't make sense here in Rhode Island, and we've developed a plan that you're directing these funds, and you're doing it efficiently. Now, if they really cared about efficiency, they'd be talking to you, and not Elon Musk. We are in a very difficult situation, but we're going to prevail. We're going to fight the good fight. We're going to make it clear that these cuts they're proposing, particularly Medicaid, will hurt every American in every state. And I hope my Republican colleagues get the message and we can stand together for what's right rather than what Trump wants. So I'll stop right there.
I want to ask if, have we already seen some of the money stop flowing when people go to draw down? Has that been an issue yet?
What they've done is they've made these headline announcements, and the details are following. In some cases, we're seeing cuts. In some cases, it's just total confusion. No one knows how much is being cut or where it's coming from. And again, he wants headlines,
Right.
and he'll work out the details later. But everything we've heard is cut programs that really help people.
And when you call the agencies, are people picking up, or is this an issue too? I mean,
I think it's hard to find people to pick up, frankly, because they've been decimated and they're confused. They don't know yet what the effective programs are. And so they're like, well, if you get a hold of them, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to say, well, we don't know either.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard. When you cut thousands and thousands of people, and when you eliminate offices, and they're cutting federal offices in Rhode Island and elsewhere, these people don't have someone to turn to, or before they could pick up the phone and get connected and
Right.
work it out.
One more question. Red states draw down too. At some point, they're going to be hit hard. I mean, Tennessee brings in an extra $300 billion every year, to pay for their services. So if we cut, they'll be in, worse shape than I think Rhode Island is with worse.
No, we're seeing now. That's why it's taking so long to clarify the precise cuts. Republicans are going back, you can't do this. There are some Republican states which have constitutional provisions that would require them to make up the difference in federal Medicaid funds that are cut. So they're like, oh my God, we can't do this. It's going to just blow our budgets up.
Right.
So that's going around. But still, if they want to get this tax cut done, there's very few other places to fill the coffers of their tax funds, refunds. It's still a bit of confusion, but yes, Republicans will feel this too, and I hope before we get to that point, my colleagues will understand that and step up and say we can't do it.
What's your latest reaction to the tariff impacts in the stock market? I think Trump said, or there's reports that he might pause for 90 days the tariffs.
Well, I think first of all, it was a colossally stupid move, which most economists on both left and right said that's not the way you do things. The results have been a collapse of the market. If he pauses for 90 days, there'll still be the uncertainty of whether he resumes it again. And I think he's created an economic environment of so much confusion and doubt that it's going to be very difficult for the market to stabilize and come back. So, every day he has a new idea, and most of them turn out very badly.
And what's your reaction to the latest deportations to El Salvador? Maryland man was accidentally deported there.
Outrageous. Particularly the administration saying that they cannot bring the gentleman back, that they can't do it. That's nonsense. They can send the American ambassador over to the jail or to the appropriate location and ask the return. And this just demonstrates the cruelty of this administration.
Mm-hmm.
That there's no excuse not to bring that gentleman back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One more question. Do you have a specific example, like here in Rhode Island, of people who are being impacted? Like,
Paul?
do you want to talk about that?
Currently, thank you for the question. Currently, we're relying hugely on our federal delegation. Rhode Island's unique, where they're all a phone call away. Currently, we haven't seen the effects as of right now. We're worrying about the what ifs. As Senator Reid said, a lot of it's headlines. The problem that we're doing is speculation. If this happens, then we're gonna have to do this. If LIHEAP closes, there goes 30,000 households in the state of Rhode Island that won't be able to heat or cool during the year. So for us, we're in direct contact with Senator Reid's office. And for us, we're hoping that a lot of this stuff is just headlines, it's just talk. But again, once a reconciliation budget comes around, we'll get a pretty better picture of what those cuts will be, if any, or how bad.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.